Game on, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Box Score Radio, brought to you by the Keaton Podcasting Network. I'm your host, Jay Keaton. It is Saturday, March 2nd, 2019. Usually the shows are only uploaded every Monday through Friday, but since I missed yesterday and since there's such a great weekend of sports ahead of us, I thought I would go ahead and upload one Saturday morning, and that's exactly what I'm doing. We got the AAF, college basketball, and UFC 235 pay-per-view to talk about. So the show is going to be a little different than usual. Instead of going into detail of every game yesterday, I'm just going to run through every score, tell you who won, and then we'll get into the predictions and the previews of all the great sports today and tomorrow. All right, so let's get started. NBA action yesterday, which is Friday. Bulls defeat the Hawks 168-161 in 4 overtimes. The Hornets over the Nets 123-112. The Raptors squeaked by the Trailblazers 119-117. The Celtics over the Wizards 107-96. Pelicans over the Suns 130-116. The Clippers over the Kings 116-109. And the Bucks defeat the Lakers on the road 131-120. College basketball. There's only one top 25 game to talk about. Number 21 Buffalo over Miami on the road 77-69. Women's basketball. Number 6 Oregon over Arizona 83-54. Number 7 Stanford over Washington State 67-42. Number 21 Arizona State over Oregon State 66-54. Creighton upsets number 13 Marquette 71-65. Number 23 Drake over Southern Illinois 71-64. And number 25 UCLA beats Utah 76-60. NHL scores from yesterday. Flyers over the Devils 6-3. Capitals over the Islanders 3-1. Canadiens over the Rangers 4-2. The Hurricanes over the Blues 5-2. Jets defeat the Predators 5-3. Golden Knights shut out the Ducks 3-0. The Ducks have been shut out a lot this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been shut out more than any other team. And the Sharks over the Avalanche 4-3. Okay, and that is all the scores from yesterday. So let's get into some predictions and previews, all right? We're going to start with the AAF, Alliance of American Football. Week 4, I would say kicks off, but they don't do kickoffs in the AAF. But they start this week today at 4. You got the Memphis Express at 0-3, taking on the San Diego Fleet, 2-1 on the season. This game is going to be played at the Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. Memphis, from what I've seen, is the worst team in the AAF, coached by Mike Singletary. They're pretty good defensively. Offensively, they're very inconsistent. They're acceptable on both sides of the ball of getting beat by big plays. So I can't pull the upset on this one. I'm going to go with the Fleet. I'm going to say San Diego wins this one. I can't do the scores. You can't really predict scores right now in the AAF because they don't do extra points. They do 2-point conversions, so their scores are never normal from what you're used to seeing in football. But I think they win I think San Diego wins this one comfortably, and they move to 3-1 on the season. And San Diego, good offense, good defense. Like a lot of the teams in the AAF, they give up big plays, but they're very competitive. So they're probably about the 3 or 4 range as far as rankings go in the AAF. And so they're going to win this one today. Other game tonight, Orlando Apollos, best team in the AAF. They're 3-0, taking on the Salt Lake Stallions at 1-2. Rice-Eccles Stadium. Can't go against Orlando right now. Steve Spurrier has proven that he can coach at a professional level. He's done it before. He's won with the Redskins. He's won championships at Florida. Garrett Gilbert is looking like a stud right now. He's probably one of the best players right now between him and Jaquan Gardner in the AAF. He's somebody that's going to be on an NFL roster next year. For that reason, Orlando, they give up big plays on defense, but they're so explosive on offense. And since they have limited blitzing rules in the AAF, I'm going to have to go with Orlando big in this one. Salt Lake's pretty good offensively, more solid defensively, but again, just not that great. Not one of the more explosive teams in the league. So I'm going to go with Orlando on this one pretty big. And then Salt Lake drops to 1-3 on the season. All right, that's Saturday's action. Sunday's games. This is going to be a good one. San Antonio Commanders, 1-2 on the season, taking on the Birmingham Iron, 3-0. Birmingham's probably top to bottom, offense, defense, best team in the league. The thing about them is they're not very explosive in offense. You know, Trent Richardson's got like 6 or 7 rushing touchdowns, but he doesn't have one that's outside 5 yards. They just give him the rock inside the 5 and he punches it in, which works. They have a very good defense, probably the best defense in the league. Offensively, they're like the Patriots. They're nickel and dime. 5 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards. They don't really have a lot of big play potential. They simply wear you out. San Antonio can score. They are pretty good on offense. They give up big plays, but since Birmingham doesn't usually have big plays each game, that's why I'm saying that this one is going to be a close one. I can't pull the upset on it, though, because Birmingham is playing at home, so to speak. I'm going to say Birmingham wins this one and they move to 4-0 on the season, and they tie Orlando with the best record in the league. All right, late Sunday, Atlanta Legends. This is the final game of the AAF. This will be seen on the NFL Network. The Atlanta Legends, 0-3 on the season, taking on the Arizona Hotshots, 2-1. Arizona, great offensively, solid defensively. Although Atlanta has been getting better and better each week. I've noticed that, and Atlanta's got big play potential. They've got good They have good wide receivers, solid quarterback. I'm going to pull the upset on this one. I'm going to say Atlanta beats Arizona. Very close game. This will be the most competitive game, I think, this weekend. Atlanta moves to 1-3 on the season. Arizona drops to 2-2. And, it lifts their spirits a little bit. And maybe they continue to get more wins because of it. So just to recap, I got San Diego over Memphis, Orlando over Salt Lake, Birmingham over San Antonio, and Atlanta upsetting Arizona. And that wraps up the Week 4 predictions for the Alliance of American Football. Now, let's go over the games we got for college basketball today. Number 6, Michigan State travels to Indiana. Michigan State's a 6-point favorite. Indiana's coming off that big win against Wisconsin, which is like their first Big Ten win of this season. They've lost like 12 or 13 straight. I think Michigan State wins on the road. LSU travels to Alabama, another point. This is really gut check weekend right now. It's the weekend before the last weekend of the regular season, which is next week, which is mostly rivalries. But LSU, Alabama 17-11 on the season, playing at home. LSU 2-point favorite. I'm not surprised if this one's close, but I like LSU to win this one. Barely squeak by. Number 15, Kansas against Oklahoma State. I like Kansas big. Florida State against NC State. NC State can make this one close. They're 20-8 on the season. They've got good players. They've played pretty good basketball this season. They've just had bad breaks. FSU is a 7.5-point favorite. I think they cover and win this one by 10. Wisconsin against Penn State. I think Wisconsin rebounds from their loss last week. Penn State had upset Maryland, but I'm not too sold on Maryland this season. Wisconsin wins. Virginia takes on Pittsburgh. Virginia wins big at home. Kentucky taking on Tennessee. Number 4 versus number 7. This is the game of the week. I'm going to have to go with Tennessee barely. I want to pick Kentucky. I really do. But Tennessee at home, revenge game, 3-point favorite. Vegas obviously has proven that they know something that we all don't. Close one. It's not going to be a blowout like it was in Lexington. Tennessee wins this one. My prediction, 75. No, I'm going to go 75-72, something like that. But Tennessee gets it done, and they split the series. Purdue takes on Ohio State. I actually like Ohio State to upset Purdue on the road. Purdue's a 12.5-point favorite, but I like what I saw from Ohio State last week against Iowa. I think they come in hot. They score quickly, effectively, shut the crowd down. I think Ohio State upsets Purdue on the road. Number 24, Wofford takes on Samford. I like Wofford big. Number 3, Duke against Miami. I like Duke big. Houston against UCF. This is the battle for the American Conference. I like Houston, but barely. They're a 7.5-point favorite. I don't think they cover that. I think UCF makes it pretty close. Number 11, Texas Tech travels on the road against TCU. Jamie Dixon, TCU coach. He's been there before. He coached at Pittsburgh, and he's taken them very far. I like TCU to upset Texas Tech. Number 22, Iowa against Rutgers. Iowa rebounds. Number 5, North Carolina against Clemson. North Carolina wins big. Kansas State against Baylor. Kansas State wins big. Number 23, Cincinnati against Memphis. Close win for Cincinnati. Nevada travels to Utah State. Utah State pulls the upset. And number 1, Gonzaga takes on St. Mary's. Close one, but St. Mary's doesn't have the firepower that Gonzaga does. So I'm going to take number 1, and that's number 1, Gonzaga, 10-point favorite. I think they win by more than that. I think it's free throws kind of spread the game apart near the end. St. Mary's plays hard, but Gonzaga is just too much for them. And college women's basketball. Game Saturday, number 2, UConn versus Houston. Number 1, Baylor takes on Oklahoma State. Number 8, Maryland against Illinois. Number 24, Rice against Louisiana Tech. Number 16, Gonzaga, Loyola Marymount. And number 18, Texas takes on number 20, Iowa State. And I like number 18, Texas at home. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now the moment that I've been waiting for. UFC 235 pay-per-view. Jones versus Smith headlining. And then you also got Tyrone Woodley versus Kamaru Usman co-main event for the welterweight championship. And then Ben Askren making his debut against Robbie Lawler. First of all, let's just go through the whole card, top to bottom, bottom to top. Start with the exclusive Fight Pass prelims. Polyana Viana takes on Hannah Cyphers. Gina Mazzani takes on Macy Chiasson, whatever. One thing I've noticed too is that when it comes to women's MMA, like this Macy Chiasson is 4-0 as a professional fighter, so you don't need a lot of professional fights as a woman to break into the UFC. You know, I've never heard of her. She's not popular, but she's 4-0 as a professional fighter. She's probably pretty badass. She looks badass. I think she actually wins this one and stays undefeated. But it is unbelievable that guys will have like 16, 17 wins, 17 professional fights before they break into the UFC, and women just do it a little bit easier. Edmund Shabazian taking on Charles Byrd. That wraps up the Fight Pass prelims, early prelims. Really good ones. Diego Sanchez taking on Mickey Gall. I like Mickey Gall in that one. I like his wrestling. Diego's a freaking nightmare. Just like his nickname. He's got 41 fights under his belt. And this is, I believe, a 170-pound fight. So that's big for Diego. And he's given up a lot of size to Mickey Gall. And Mickey Gall is a great wrestler. And that's going to be the difference in this one. Mickey Gall gets the win. Cody Stamann taking on Alejandro Perez. This is a bantamweight fight. I like Perez to win this one. Mishak Cirkunov taking on Johnny Walker. Light heavyweight bout. Let me go with Misha. I don't know a lot about these guys, but his name's pretty interesting, so I'll say he gets the win. Jeremy Stevens taking on Zabit Magomadov-Shapirov. Zabit's got a lot of hype under him. He's very talented, 16-1. This is a featherweight fight. Jeremy Stevens is going to test him, though. I think this goes 3 rounds. Jeremy is going to just come in there guns blazing, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremy pulls the upset on this one. But I have to go with Zabit just because I've seen how well-rounded he is, how elusive he is, how technical he is. He throws a lot of different kicks, a lot of different strikes to mess with his opponent. I think his range and speed is going to be enough to freeze Jeremy Stevens and kind of get him guessing. And if Jeremy doesn't come out guns blazing, Zabit's going to pick him apart, and I think that's what's going to happen for 3 rounds. So I like Zabit to win this one. And that's the last card before the main card, which starts off with Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munoz. Not a lot known about Pedro Munoz. He's on a 6-fight win streak, 17-3 as a record as a professional fighter. Cody was 11-0, and then he lost 2 straight to TJ Dillashaw for the title. I think Cody rebounds because I've seen how good he is, how quick he is. The only problem with him is that he doesn't protect himself a lot. But I don't think he loses 3 in a row. He's just not that kind of fighter. I don't see him going down this losing stretch. I think just TJ, who I believe is one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. I like Cody to rebound on this one. He's going to get it done by knockout. Tecia Torres, the cutie tornado, as I call her, taking on Weili Zhang. Weili Zhang, the favorite in this one, 18-1 from China, women's strawweight bout. Tecia Torres is very good. She's quick. But I've heard so much about Weili Zhang that I can't pick against her. So I'm going to say Weili Zhang by submission. Early first round submission. All right, now we're going to the third fight. Ben Askren, Funky Ben Askren, making his debut in the UFC, 18-0. He was a welterweight champion in Bellator. He was a welterweight champion at ONE FC. He's dominated everybody he's fought. He's got a solid wrestling background. He's a multiple-time NCAA champion. Made it to the Olympics. Medaled in the Olympics. He's one of those fighters, doesn't have the look of somebody who's going to dominate, but he's just that good on the ground. And the thing with Robbie is, regardless of what the UFC crew said about him taking on Johnny Hendricks and out wrestling him or whatever and beating him, I can't get over what I saw from Robbie Lawler against Rafael Dos Anjos, where Dos Anjos dominated him on the ground for 3 rounds. I think Ben Askren's going to do the same exact thing. I think he's going to get tested, and Robbie's going to make him work, but I think Ben Askren's going to dominate him. And I've also seen Ben Askren from his transition from Bellator to ONE FC, how good he is in jiu-jitsu. He's so much better as a jiu-jitsu fighter now. So much better that I think he's going to end up just working Robbie way too much, and he might even pull off a submission. I'm going to go with 3rd round submission for Ben Askren here. Either that or a decision, but I'll go out on the limb and say 3rd round submission victory for Ben Askren. All right, co-main event. Welterweight Championship of the World. Tyrone Woodley taking on Kamaru Usman. Kamaru is very well-rounded. Quick, strong, technical, likes to press the pace. Thing about Tyrone is Tyrone has figured out the game. Daniel Cormier once said there are levels to this game, and Tyrone's on that level. He's that good. Until he fights somebody that has just been mowing through people, I can't pick against him. I think Kamaru can knock him out. I think Kamaru can work him a little bit. He's not going to work him for 5 rounds, though. And for that reason, I'm taking Tyron Woodley to win this one by decision. Because I think for 5 rounds, Tyron Woodley is just another fighter. And this is a step up in competition that Kamaru is just not used to. Ask Darren Till about the step up in competition. Okay? So I like Tyron Woodley retain the title. All right, main event time. Johnny Bones Jones taking on Anthony Lionheart Smith. Light heavyweight championship. Anthony Smith won 3 in a row. He knocked out Shogun. He knocked out Rashad Evans. He choked out Volkan. But you're going against a guy who has never been next to Khabib, only next to Khabib, somebody that's never been dominated in a fight. Round by round, he's been that good. He's lengthier than Anthony is. He's faster than him. Anthony's only chance to win this thing is as soon as the ref says go, you take the center and you start swinging bombs, and you make Jon Jones a little bit concerned. That's the only way he loses this fight. If Jon Jones gets time to settle in and pick him apart, it's going to be a long night, and he's going to finish him in a couple rounds. I don't care how tough Anthony is. And the thing about Jon, there's so many ways he can beat you. He can beat you standing. He can beat you in the clinch. He can submit you from the clinch. He can submit you from the ground. He can ground and pound. He's done every type of submission you can think of, he's done. Any type of way to win a fight, he's going to do it. That's just that's what he does. Anthony has got a lot of confidence going into this fight, a lot of momentum, but the difference is that Jon Jones knows everything about you. You know, he knows more about you than you know about yourself. And he's so strategical in his attack. He did the same thing against Gustafsson. Gustafsson should have came out there and guns blazing, but Gustafsson tried to work him, tried to pick him apart, tried to go toe-to-toe with them and strike for strike. Doesn't work that way. You just got to go guns blazing, start throwing bombs, and hope one lands. That's Anthony Smith's only chance in this one, and because it's so limited, I can't go against Jon Jones. Jon Jones is going to win this one by knockout because I think Anthony's going to keep going until he can't go anymore. He's not going to be able to last 5 rounds with Jon Jones. Because if he says, and I believe him, he says he's just coming in there to take his head off, which he needs to do. But it's high, no risk, no reward, and it's a high gamble for him, and he's not going to be able to do it. And Jon Jones is going to win this one, move to 24-1 as a fighter, remain the light heavyweight championship. I am excited for this card. I am ordering it on the pay-per-view. Starts at 10 o'clock. The prelims start, I think, about 8. It is a must-watch. If you are a UFC fan, it is a must-watch. It is a stacked card. I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited for it. Catch it tonight. You will not regret it. I know how to pick these cards. Trust me. All right, guys. Well, there's a lot of sports to watch today, and that's why I'm wrapping this up now. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing to the show. Thanks for telling a friend about the show. Remember to log on to Podbean, download the app, like, subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Help me out. You can also follow the show on Twitter at BoxScore Radio. And remember, you can also listen to the show for free on Podbean, but also listen on YouTube as well. Have a great weekend, and I will